Hey everybody, it's Cam from Boa Sanctuary, and I am here today to tell you guys about our longest, hi buddy, animal ambassador, Bo, our boa constrictor. So Bo is kind of the animal that a lot of the times when folks come around to the sanctuary, we give a little bit of heads up before we open up his enclosure because some people are concerned about snakes and we just want to be able to respect that. This guy, however, he is also one of our biggest sweethearts here at the sanctuary. So we really like when people are able to meet him. We get a lot of feedback from folks that come and visit saying that he is the first snake they've ever felt warm feelings for, and that is largely attributed to his personality today and his history before. So we would like to share that with you guys today. When Bo first came to the sanctuary, he looked like a zombie. We weren't exactly prepared to take him in at that point in time. We had a different surrender that same day and stopped to pick up some supplies for that surrender, and in the process we also got Bo as a surrender. He did not look great, and right off the bat we knew that he was going to be a lot of work to get him to feel better again. He had a really severe respiratory tract infection and we were not sure how well he was going to do, but the cause of everything, we found out, was because his owner had left him alone with a live rat for a whole week. And the owner's intention here was that Bo would eat the rat because at the time he was eating lives. However, at his size, Bo was eating once a week to once every other week, and rats are eating as much as up to 6 times a day. With that discrepancy in metabolism, the rat got hungry first, and in looking for food, found Bo. A lot of folks ask us, why didn't Bo fight back against the rat? When he first started getting nibbled on, that is going to basically shut off his hunger cues or his ability to effectively fight. The feeling of that pain is going to trigger panic and instead create a fight or flight. And Bo's response was flight. He spent as much time as he could and all his energy trying to get out of his enclosure, rubbing his nose up against every square inch to try to find a weak spot and hopefully escape and get away from this rat that was causing him all this pain. He had a really strong enclosure and it did a good job at keeping him inside of it. However, in this particular instance, that was not conducive to Bo's safety. So when his owner came back after that week, Bo was pretty injured and she had thrown out the rat and then left Bo for another month before finally surrendering him. What that did is it gave him a month for all of those injuries to become infected. What we saw when we took him to the vet was stomatitis, mouth rot. His mouth was so swollen that he wasn't able to swallow food anymore. The stomatitis led to a respiratory infection, so his breathing was super gurgly, and he straight-necked all the time. Had his neck stretched out as straight as he could. He kept it very erect towards the sky in the attempt to try to get air to his lungs more effectively. He had a bunch of scarring all over his body, and he had pretty severe suck shed as a result of his lip injuries. Here's that face, and we can see his lip is still pretty lifted up. So for Bo's treatment, to get him healthier, we had to put in a lot of work with him, and it was several hours on a daily basis with a varied schedule. That consisted of cleaning his enclosure regularly so that as he improved in his health, he wasn't being re-exposed to old pathogens as he's actively fighting them. We gave him baths regularly to help with his duck shed, and he had SSD lotioning to help with all of his exposed wounds from the rat bites. He had to get his teeth brushed because his mouth rot was so severe and so swollen that we had to get rid of all that plaque. I will say that's the only part of his treatment that he didn't bear like a champ. He got a little hissy during teeth brushing. We had to give him shots to help fight his infections, and we had to give him a nebulizer to help with the respiratory infection, hoping to open up his airways so that way he could breathe a little bit better. Most importantly, most impactfully to him, he had to eat food through a tube down his throat for about 7 months. So Bo was on a liquid diet, and we were feeding him every other day with liquid nutrition to help him get stronger, because he'd gone a long time without eating. We're not sure if he hadn't been eating prior to his injuries, but when he first came to us, he was about 6.5 feet long and 7 pounds, and he was very underweight and did not have any strength to him whatsoever. He didn't hold on when you lifted him up, and didn't show any strength to be able to fight physically anything. And through that liquid diet, he was able to get a lot of his strength back. With the teeth brushing and his mouth cleaning up, he was able to finally start eating solid food and get back on rodents again, which was a big day for us. We cried the first day that Bo was able to eat a rat in our care, just because it had been such a big progress. We do have before and after photos of Bo's treatment progress, and he looked insanely different just from start to finish. So with Bo having his lip pushed up, he wasn't able to start his own sheds for a long time. Snakes start their sheds by rubbing their face up against things to be able to kind of lift the skin off where the skin is naturally split around their mouth. Because Bo's lip was pushed up, he was instead pushing against raw gum rather than his scales to shed. And so everything kind of held on because he couldn't start it effectively. And when he did rub up on things to remove the shed, it came off in large chunks and flakes, and we didn't ever see like a full set of skin coming off. Our most recent development in Bo's care was his first ever complete single piece shed that happened about a week ago. And so we do see some holes in there. That's from us unwinding the shed to see how full it actually was. But his whole body came off in one piece, and that was a big cause for celebration, because that was his first time doing it entirely on his own. Through all of Bo's treatments, we kind of got to meet an entirely new snake. From the guy who was a very limp, weak zombie of a snake, we now have a guy who is super friendly. I say that kind of loosely. Reptiles don't have the same ability to experience love in the same capacity that humans do, but Bo hangs on to people very gently. He's very non-aggressive and very docile and very receptive to human touch. With all of the time that he spent in treatment feeling like absolute garbage, he came to associate us as a feeling of security and feeling better with time. So now we see Bo's very comfortable with people, and that makes him a really great animal to help introduce folks who aren't as comfortable with snakes. While Bo has made a lot of progress with his treatment, he still has a little bit of ways to go. Where humans shed our skin daily and regenerate that skin weekly, reptiles only shed their skin once a month, so their healing of wounds is exponentially longer than ours is. Hi, buddy. And with that, his injuries take a lot longer to heal than ours would if they were the equivalent injury. With time, Bo's lip has continually grown a little bit closer to that natural gum line, but it has to move at a very slow rate in order to work with his natural healing process. All that said, we definitely think that you guys should come to Spock Sanctuary to get to meet Bo in person yourself, because he is even more fun to get to interact with in person than he is just to watch over video. We are active on social media, so check us out here on YouTube or anywhere else that you can find in our link tree. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and follow along for more updates on Bo and all the other animals here at the sanctuary. Thanks, guys.